What's going on, pursuers? Welcome to The Pursuit of Calling, the podcast that provides you with the strategies and tools needed to successfully discover and pursue your calling. Whether it's through inspiring stories, thought-provoking interviews, or quick, insightful episodes on personal growth and development, we've got you covered. I'm your host, Thomas Carney. Enjoy the episode. What's going on, pursuers? Welcome to this episode of the Pursuit of Calling podcast. It's a big one. It's an important one because it is day one of me being unemployed from my job as a full-time web and mobile app developer and being self-employed as a full-time entrepreneur. No boss to tell me what to do or when to do it. And some people might think that's a dream, but to me, it's kind of scary. Because last week we talked about procrastination, and I talked about my big fear around procrastination is that there's nobody setting my priorities for me. Even though I am actually not bad at setting my priorities, but there's times whenever I procrastinate and do once over my needs. And so last week's episode was really, honestly, super helpful for me because I took time to actually study and prepare for that episode. And it's probably one of my favorite episodes I've done this year so far. Because I've been able to reflect on weighing my wants versus my needs. Even in the moment, I'm getting better at it. And even as just like 1 week has gone on. And guys, it helps so much. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, please go back and listen to it. Not because I'm biased and not because I told you to, but because we all deal with procrastination. And there's so much good stuff in that episode that I was able to find that I was given by my therapist that I truly believe it will serve you in helping you do what you need to do versus what you want to do on the pursuit of your calling. But make sure, you can go there after this one. Put it in your queue to be right after this one. And now, actually, you know what? Let me real quick just say, I might have to cut this one shorter than I thought I was going to. My jaw's being a little jerk right now. Teeth are chattering a lot. You probably can't hear. I try to get you to hear it, but it's fine. So I'm going to go do as much as I can. Sorry. And we'll see how far we get. So what am I doing in March of 2026 in order to pursue my calling well with intentionality? I'm setting goals. I'm creating plans, and I want to dive into those goals with you. So my goal for March of 2026 is to have a gross income of $2,500. It might sound small, but we're going to dive into why that specific amount and why that's a goal that I believe I want to achieve. I know I want to achieve, because I'm breaking that down into two specific steps. One is make $1,250 from web development, and the other 50% of that from coaching. Again, that sounds like a small goal, but that is exactly $2,500 is exactly what I need in order to pay for my expenses and have enough left over for taxes. So I figured, why not start there? Why not start there with a bite-sized goal? Because I have a big goal. I'm going to bring it up later, but I have a big goal of having a 10K month. And putting this all into perspective and being a coach and then coaching myself, I'm like, you can't start at $10,000 a month because you don't know how to make $10,000 a month. You haven't done that yet. So putting it all into perspective, I already know what I need to do in order to get freelance work. I already know what I need to do in order to get at least one. At least I'm going to attempt to get one coaching client, or I guess my next coaching client. I know, I'm going to be talking with. I know who I'm going to talk to for freelance work. I know who I'm going to talk. I know that I need to talk with people from the Maxwell Leadership Network for advice and for coaching on around how much they charge, what their niche is and why, what is their revenue, what is their best revenue generator. And I'm going to pause there because you might be wondering, What does any of this matter to me? Why are you telling me this? If I'm not a coach, I'm not aiming to coach other people, or I'm not a freelance web developer. Why do I care? Because the way I'm breaking down this goal, what I'm doing for myself, is exactly what I would be doing with you if you were one of my coaching clients. The big financial goal, like I brought up before, is a 10K month just from coaching. To reach that goal, again, I can't start there because I'm not there yet. I don't know enough. So how do I learn more? I learn by doing. By breaking that $10,000 goal down into milestones, into bite-sized pieces, and creating actionable plans on how I'm going to get from where I am to where I want to be. And what coaching does is each week you sit down with your coach and you make that actionable plan for the next week. You go through what went well, what that week prior, what didn't go well, what were the obstacles, how do you overcome the obstacle, how are you going to overcome the obstacles, and what are the action steps you're going to take in order to get from where you are to where you want to be by the end of next week, in order to keep taking incremental steps towards the inevitable big goal that you're aiming towards, so you can pursue your calling and the vision that you have set out with intentionality. Does that make sense? If that does make sense, let me know in the comments. And if it doesn't make sense, if you need me to slow down and give more detail, let me know in the comments. I really, really need your feedback, because that will help me provide you and serve you at a higher capacity than I'm able to without any external information. I don't want to stay in the bubble, so please let me know. With all that said, we talked about calling, we talked about pursuing its intentionality. It's because, why do you want to do that? It's because I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Your calling isn't for you. And in order to pursue it well, you need a plan in order to serve those whom you're called to serve. You need a plan. You need a plan that will cause you to intentionally pursue the calling that God has put in your life. And it's okay if the plan changes. It's okay if your plan is 100% perfect, because it won't be. But if you're just living on default and living with whatever the world throws at you, and just taking everything that happens to you as everything that God wants for you, I don't believe that. That might be, I don't know if people would agree with that, but there's so many things in the world that happen to us. There's so many things that, like with me, is my condition. Here's a perfect example. I have muscular dystonia. I was telling you about my jaw earlier. My brain fights me, right? Not in the sense of like I get brain fog, or that like I get confused a lot, or like I have some other mental disability. Like, no, my brain tells my muscles to do the wrong things. That's why I'm having trouble talking sometimes. It's not why I have a lisp. That's a different story. But I'm in chronic pain every day. If I just lived on default and let my body dictate what I was going to achieve in my life, I wouldn't achieve that much. Your circumstances don't dictate the calling that does not dictate the calling that God's put in your life. God dictates the calling. It's up to us to live in it with intentionality, and to take it seriously and to pursue it well. So I'm going to challenge you, because last week I challenged you around how to overcome procrastination. This week I want to challenge you to take action. Do this with me, and we'll pursue our callings intentionally together. I wrote down, just like I did, I want you to write down your big goal. It doesn't matter how big it is. I have a goal to be pain-free. I have a goal to overcome my condition. Like, no matter how ridiculous it sounds, write it down. Write down one or more milestones. Then break that milestone down into even smaller goals. You're breaking it down more and more and more. And then after you broke that down into smaller goals, each week, sit down with yourself or your coach and write write down what you're going to do that week in order to intentionally pursue the next step, the next milestone. It's incremental. And guys, if you want to be able to sit down with a coach for 1 hour for free, guys, I have a scheduling link that you can go to down in the show note, I guess not really show notes, I'm learning recently, down in the description of this episode. And what that is a discovery coaching call where you're going to learn what coaching is from a first-hand experience. Not just learn what it is. You're going to get to experience what it does. As someone who lives with chronic pain every single day of his life, I've learned what it means to endure pain, what it means to endure life, and to pursue my calling with intentionality. I think you can tell if you've been listening to the episode of this podcast for long enough that you know that I take that seriously, and I'm doing my best to take that with integrity and intentionality. So if you would like to sit down with for a one-on-one conversation, thought-provoking conversation with me so that we can get you closer from where you are to where you want to be, sign up for a 1 hour coaching call. Again, it's absolutely free. What do you have to lose? And what do you have to gain? What would it mean if it helps you get closer to your goal? Think on that. And guys, thank you for listening to this episode of the Pursuit of Calling podcast. If you like this episode, again, give a like on Facebook, give a 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and go ahead and leave a comment wherever you can leave a comment. It really helps the algorithm, and it really gives, whether it's good feedback or bad feedback, it's feedback that I would love to hear from you. Constructive feedback, not mean feedback. Let's leave that alone. Give that, I might have to pray for you. But anyway, thank you for listening to the episode. I'll see you next time. Keep pursuing your calling well. Do it with intentionality. I love you guys. Peace.